Hi and welcome back, and today we're looking at the new modular vehicles. Luckily Alistair was kind enough to let me actually jump on the test server before they were released on the 18th of March for anyone to play, to get on. Look out for the post that's coming from FacePunch that will let you jump on and play with these on staging. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of parts for these vehicles already. I'll go through in depth, sort of, because some things may change, and show exactly what you can encounter when you find these. Now, vehicles can be found at the side of a road. When you find it, it's practically busted. To get these working, you'll need to use the tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3 components. You fit these by going to the engine and basically putting them in. Once this is done, your vehicle is kinda in a state where you can drive it. After it's at that state, take it back to your garage that you've made effectively, which will show in a second. Depending on the module, i.e. the frame of the vehicle, you can have a 2 module, 3 module or 4 module as shown now. You can customize your vehicle as you wish. Now, I'm not going into too much depth of all the modules because things are changing all the time. Now, this is a vehicle that I spawned in, so you'd find this. It's an armoured cockpit with a large engine, 2 module vehicle. Now, with this, I can only change 2 of the modules, but I'll have to have a cockpit with an engine or an engine, etc. You have to have some form of engine. Now, I'll go into more depth in a second, and I'll bring in another module, a 4 module, and show you how you can move things around. It is actually very easy. You have to make sure the components from the engine that you've put in have been taken out though. Something I messed about with for a while, so bear that in mind to get it out. But you can see with the 2 module, easily moving things across and get them in place. Now, I'll jump into the 4 module and show you exactly what you can do and how you can modify. Now, as I mentioned, these spawn in, and this is another spawned in, but it's a 4 module vehicle this time. And basically, as you can see, it is busted. So you take your parts, put them into the engine for the components section of it. After that's done, go to the front. At the end of this, I'll also show how the fuel light and the engine light works as well after driving about, to show you the vehicle kinda a little in depth of how the current state is. Once you've got it all in and you're back at your base, all you're going to do is basically drive up to the ramps that you've fitted. Haven't got any information as yet as to tiers, etc. I will show later that it actually takes 1000 damage to actually break it. So for base building, you can actually use that to try and probably protect a certain section of your base. Now, as I said, this is a 4 module. This module is for storing fluid. Haven't tested it, I'll be honest, for water or low grade yet, but I'd imagine it's mainly going to be for water, potential oil. Now, just chucking these modules away, you'll see that I'm just dragging in different modules to customize exactly how I want it to be. Now, you can see now I've got storage and a flat back. Very, very simple. But you can put rear cockpits on here as well. If you need to repair anything, you do it at the service station that you've built, the ramps. Very simple. Now, if you don't have the ramps and you're just going to take loads of vehicles, it's probably pointless because they're not really going to do much, so bear that in mind. If you're doing a massive raid and you want a lot of storage, yes, this becomes pretty OP, but that's Rust. It's the way Rust is going. If you don't like it, then tough. It's just how it is, unfortunately. Now, as I said, these can be done across the 3 module and 2 modules as well, but bear in mind, if you're using a 2 module, the engine may not be strong enough, so you may have to get better tier components to make sure that it can actually take the strain of what you're putting on there. Now, as you can see, I've got an armoured cockpit, driver's seat, 2 storage. I'll change this now. For now, I'll just put a simple cockpit in the back just to show that it's got a steering wheel in, but you can put rear seats in as well. You can modify this as you like. Have storage at the front, have the engine in the middle, have the cockpit at the back. Honestly, it's done in a way that suits you and how you play. Now, this is very, very good if you like this sort of thing. There will be people who will complain that's just Rust. It's not OP because you still have to find all the parts. You can't just, like the helicopters, put some low grade in and fly away and get anything. You're going to have to put some work into this. Luckily, they haven't done silly things like bringing tyres and everything else like DayZ. I'd imagine it'll be quite simple to find. Now, driving wise, I'll do a bit more of a drive at the end just to show you, because there's a bit of what to show with the fuel gauge and the other gauge which shows when a vehicle really needs parts for the engine. Now I found in water when I'm driving around it skids around, which is good, so if you're forcing someone off the road, then yes, that element can play a big part in breaking them down. Obviously armour's a lot stronger as a vehicle, but I did find that the other modules, when you shoot at it, it was doing quite a lot of damage to it. So yes, it can be done in a way where they're not that OP. Now, as I said, driving wise, it's still being worked on. If you go into F1, when you get onto this stage, you can see all the components that are coming into play. There's a lot of stuff here that is going to be coming into the game, which will make the experience a lot different, because you will have to think of storage in your base to hold it all, how much resources you're going to need to actually have all this in place. You're going to have an area for a garage for the ramps to actually sit, and I'll find the ramps now and take the ramps and show how they sit. They have to be in a foundation, you can't put them on just a normal bit of ground, they have to be in a foundation, so bear that in mind as well. As you can see, you can't place it anywhere at all. As soon as you come into the garage thing that I've made up itself, you can see now that it places. This does require power, 20 power as it stands at the minute. All my power is at the back, I've just hidden it away. Very simple. A lot of this will change, so bear in mind what you're seeing now may change come July, but I'm sure there'll be loads of updates and they'll be made clear on what's happened with it. You can see 1000 damage to break this up, so for base building, yes, it could sort of come into play. I haven't played with it a lot yet, but I'm sure there's something you could use it for to try and protect stuff and make it harder for people to get in. Now I'll quickly jump into the vehicles and show what it's like. There's also a push mechanic, so if this happens, it pushes them back up. We'll see what it's like with the armoured and the normal cockpit, just so you can see the view, and I said I'll go through all the fuel and the repair mechanism that's there as well. Now, driving the vehicles is actually quite smooth. It's not like the sedan really, you can actually feel that it is smoother. The arms do jiggle about a bit, but that will change. The animations are probably still being worked on at the minute, so it does feel as if you're cutting across a little bit, but you're not actually that bad. Now, I'm in the armoured vehicle at the minute just to show you the viewpoint, so if you do upgrade to armoured, you are very limited to what you can see. But I'll jump into the other wagons as well and show you exactly what the viewpoint is in there, but bear in mind, you won't be as protected if you're in them, so you have to do that gamble. It's the same with the heavy plate helmet, your view is restricted. That also includes the passenger as well, so bear that in mind if you do feel that you want to use that module. Now you can see in this one I have full vision. Now take note of the light, I'll go into the light in a second. You can see in the dashboard, which is actually illuminated. You'll probably notice I am not going as fast. That is because my engine has an issue. You can see my fuel gauge is full because I've put a load of fuel into it. Now going to the 2 module, I'll just split down as to how you can rectify that, and it is very simple. The indicator is just there to tell you that basically your engine is missing parts. Now it can work without all those parts, but will not work sufficiently. You can see now the light is fully gone, so it's a very good indicator for you to tell, basically, if you jump into a vehicle, you've taken off someone, is this worthwhile keeping? Because if you're trying to get away quick, chances are people are going to hear it and probably take you out because you're going at a snail's pace. Now, just to show the lights coming on and off, I'll take the fuel out and put the fuel back in, take some of the parts out of the engine just to show you how it works and how you can rectify all the issues. Fuel obviously is going to be very straightforward because you just put fuel in, it's not overly complicated, as I'll show here. If I take the fuel out, go back to the vehicle, jump in, it's going to show empty, so you're not going to actually go anywhere. Straightforward, but there will be some people who may not understand that concept, but it's pretty much there. So put the fuel back in and you'll now see the gauge go straight back to the top. Self-explanatory. Put your foot down the pedal and it will rise. There you go, it's now there. Now if I take certain parts of the engine out, the light will not come on all the time. This may change, but for the time being it still allows you to drive because you've got enough really to let it work. Certain parts coming out will probably bring it on more, but again, this may change. If I take all the parts out now, you'll see a change in the illumination of the light. As soon as I start, it will show that this vehicle ain't going very far. Now, just having certain items, as I said, will change how the vehicle works. You can see now it moves. The light hasn't come on yet, but if I take more parts out, you'll see that it's just not having any of it. When you start on a slope, it can be difficult for the time being, but that will change. You can see because I've not got all the parts in the engine, it's just spinning about. It's not really performing that well. Take out the parts again, jump in. You can see now the light is on because there's no parts in it, so I've got limited use of what I can do. Very good, I like it. That is the kind of indicator you need, because you will get people who are playing this who are new to the vehicles who won't really understand. So keep an eye out for the dashboard modules. And that is it. That is the cars as they are at the minute. I'll go into more depth when they come close to being released, but let me know what you think. Do you think this is good? Is it bad? I personally like it. It's something I wanted to come in for a while. I'd have took these over helicopters any day. Bases, start thinking of what you're going to do, because these garages are going to have to be in play. Trust me, these are going to be more in play than the helicopters were. I've been me, you've been you. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.